My cousin is a geriatrics doctor. Every year she has 10 to 15 patients. By this time it's flu or cold. So far she has seen none this year. She attributes the face mask and hand washing. Why do I doubt masks? See, this question, and I don't take this the wrong way, whomever wrote this question, but it really illustrates how we have turned everything in our lives and in our society into a political statement. It's intellectually lazy, because what we do is we just see someone that's not wearing a mask up to their nose, let's say, and then within an instant we put them in a category and we think we know every single opinion they have, and vice versa. We see someone coming in with two masks and like a shield over, and we instantly think we know what their political views are, whether they're smart, whether they're stupid. It just within an instant. That is not good. On either side, that's bad. Very, very bad to do that. So what happens is I talk about the fact that I don't think there should be mandates. I don't think the government should come in and mandate that you do anything. I don't think they should, unless if you're not harming another person's personal property, and you could say, well, that you're harming someone's property by just going outside because you might be sick, you might not know it, or by not wearing a mask. And that's, if you really want to go down that slippery slope, then why not just why not have people liable for just leaving the house? Because even leaving and getting into your car, you are to a certain degree risking other people's well-being. So how far do you really want to take that? So, and then I would even argue that if that's where you want to go with it, fine. If someone feels as though they contracted let's say the flu for that matter, if you want to take them to court to try to prove damages that they gave you the flu, with our court system, you can do that. And you can do that with anything, but I don't think the government should get involved with it. So what people, from that they extract, oh, well, George just doesn't think masks work. How can you have such black and white thinking? Like, if I don't believe that we should turn into a police state and the government should mandate the wearing of whatever, then I just don't believe they work. Because if I believed they work, then I would be in favor of the government forcing, through violence, through the threat of violence, everyone wearing a mask over their face, right? How do you connect those dots? You see? So my main point is, number one, let's start using some critical thought. Let's not just put everyone into buckets so we can just determine what we think they think just by one statement or just by looking at them. It's just, we're going to make things worse if we continue to do that. So my official position, for the record, is I don't think the government should get involved. Like I said, I don't think they should do lockdowns. I think the jury is out on how effective or not the lockdowns are. When you look at the actual data, I was reading a Stanford report on that today. But as far as the math, yeah, I mean, I think they work to a certain degree. But you've got to look at those studies. Usually, when they do those studies on masks, when they determine whether or not they work, they're talking about you have to be coughing. And if you're just breathing, then it's really kind of a non-issue for most of the reports that I've read. Now, there could be reports out there. So I have a very open mind to it. But I just think that you should be able to determine what you want to do. And by the way, if masks do work, then why don't we just give masks to all the people that are vulnerable and get on with our lives? Right? Like, hey, masks work. Great. Then give them to everyone that's vulnerable. Allow them to wear them if they choose. And let's just move on. Let's open up everything if masks work, right? It's the same thing. I'm sure YouTube is going to ban this video, but it's the same thing with the vaccine. If it works, great, fantastic. It prevents people from getting sick. So just give it to the people that are at risk if they choose to take it. And then let's just open everything up. What are we doing here? It makes absolutely no sense to me. It's tough to have those two thoughts in your head at the same time because they're completely inconsistent. That one, the vaccine works and it's amazing, but yet we need to have we need to still wear masks, right? Or we need to still have lockdowns. We need to still do all these things. We need to have let's say a pervasive sickness passport to where you can't go into a restaurant, you can't go onto a plane, you can't go to a concert unless you can prove that you're worthy from a health standpoint. Well, why do we need that if the vaccine works and people can just that are in a high risk group can just take it and they don't have to worry about getting sick? Great. So the only people that have to worry about getting sick are the people that don't want to take it, and that's their decision. I don't understand what we're doing here. So anyway, forget my personal opinion. That really doesn't matter. The main takeaway there, and I think that what's valuable about what I just said is let's not just put people into a certain bucket and assume we know every one of their beliefs and how they see the world just because they say one thing. And then you assume because they said that one thing, they have to believe another 100 things that everyone else thinks that might have that same thought. And I'm not talking about the people just on, let's say, the far left. I'm talking about everybody. I'm talking about right, left, in the middle. I don't care where you are. We're doing, in my opinion, we're doing that just way too much. And that's what's causing so much of this friction that we see in society today. And that's going to cause more and more social unrest. Absolutely. And I think it goes back to the fact that we've moved away so much from religion in our society. And you can say that's good or bad, totally up to you. But the bottom line is we have to fill that void with something. And people are filling that void with politics. And that's why it gets so contentious. That's why you see society just at each other's throat constantly. And it's going to take us down a bad path, man, a real bad path. Just going out before I came over here, I went to Whole Foods to get some water and some groceries. And just going into Whole Foods, like you can't see anyone and everyone's kind of like this. And you just walk by someone and they're like, they're kind of moving over here. They're like, trying to move over that direction. Just make sure they're staying 20 feet. They don't want to. Everyone's very apprehensive and everyone's on pins and needles. And no one's out there just enjoying human interaction. And at the end of the day, guys, we're social creatures. We are. We're hardwired to need that human contact. And if the longer you take that human contact away, for better or worse, I'm not talking about from a health standpoint. I'm just saying it is what it is. The longer you take that away, you have to realize that you're creating more and more problems and more social volatility. It's going to have to come out somewhere. There has to be a release valve for that. And I think if you look at what happened over the New Year with like that college football game where they just unloaded the bench and it was just this wild brawl, I think that has a lot to do with the fact that you lock human beings up for an entire year. And every single time they go out, they can't see anyone smile. And every single person that they go up to, they can't shake their hand. You have to wave at them at a distance. And then when you walk by someone, you've got, get out of the way. Don't get too close because I don't want your cerveza sickness dust. I don't want I don't want your aura to get within 10 feet of me. I don't want your COVID cooties. Stay away. You see, listen, whether that's better from in an isolated, when you look at an isolated health issue, you could say, well, that's better. Okay, fine, maybe. But this is a cost benefit analysis. And we are not looking at the costs at all. And I'll leave it at that.